What's up, everybody? Good afternoon. Welcome to the Chad Prather Show. We are rocking and rolling, baby. It's a full day. It's a full day. We've had a lot of stuff going on. We had the Dear America show this morning. Just got off of a Zoom call with a pile of people on our team. Awesome time with our Make Wellness family, and then got some more news hits to do today. I'm telling you guys, men aren't supposed to talk this much, but I'm doing the best I can. So. Welcome to the show. We got a big one for you today. This is going to be an eye-opener. Shocking, to say the least. There's some stuff going on in Texas that is driving me crazy. You guys know my story. Like, I didn't grow up in Texas. I'm a pro-life guy. I was conceived in Texas, so I got Texas DNA, baby. You know, my parents did something in Dallas back in 1972. We won't talk about that. And back then, Dallas was still Texas. These days, I'm starting to wonder. I just saw a thing pop up. Sources say Dallas County Commissioner John W. Price allegedly assaulted a woman last night. This isn't new behavior. It's a pattern. Let's talk about this history of corruption, violence, and public disgrace. You know, Texas ain't the Texas that most Texans think it is anymore. It's crazy, the stuff that's coming out. I was on Dr. Maria's show last night, and we were talking specifically about Texas. And there's this idea that Texas just has it all under control. That Texas is just this big conservative state, you know, and everything is rocking and rolling the way it should. Man, we've been betrayed. I'm telling you, people are deceived. They're absolutely deceived in thinking that. I mean, our Texas House is ridiculous. The Republicans there are in name only. I mean, that's the only way I've known to put it. I mean, they're really doing some crazy stuff. And, you know, when you talk about what's happening in Texas, it's bad. And I'm not just talking about the heat, folks. I mean, there's something else that's making us sweat. Recently, the Texas House of Representatives, yes, the same body elected to represent the Lone Star State. Did you know that they passed a resolution to officially recognize Pakistan Day? Pakistan Day, not Texas Independence Day, not Alamo Remembrance Day, Pakistan Day in Texas. And while they were at it, they gave nods to the Islamic holy month of Ramadan. And other things like, listen, I got no problem with folks that want to practice their faith peacefully, whatever they want to do. That's part of the freedom that we do cherish in this country. I am outspokenly a believer in Jesus Christ. I'm a Christian. But you know what? When our elected officials start bending over backwards to celebrate not only a foreign nation as a holiday, but then enshrine religious observances that aren't even remotely tied to the cultural foundation of Texas, it's time to start asking some real hard questions. We're going to do that today. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more surreal, you got this thing called Epic Cities, which is a proposed Muslim-led community project that's happening in Plano, Texas, just north of Dallas. I mean, think of that as a city within a city. It's got its own schools, got its own infrastructure, it's got its own values, of course. And so there's the question we need to ask, are these values going to reflect the rugged independence and Judeo-Christian roots that made Texas great, or are we just going to watch the slow and steady creep of cultural replacement happen right here in our midst? Now, this isn't about fear-mongering, although I think there should be some concern. This is about identity. This is about the soul of Texas. We got lawmakers that are more eager to virtue signal than to stand firm for the traditions and values that built this state. And folks, we're not Pakistan. We're not Saudi Arabia. We are Texas, and it's time we act like it before we wake up and don't recognize our own backyard. So we're going to buckle up today and get ready because we're going to dig into what's really going on and why it matters more than ever to stand up, speak out, and protect the very spirit of the Lone Star State. So let's get into it. Before we do, let me remind you guys, we got a couple things going on. Our Patriot Mobile partners over there, make sure that you check them out, patriotmobile.com/Chad. Get over there. They're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They use the same towers as the big three. You get better coverage, as good a coverage as anything else. I mean, I told you guys I'd lost coverage the other day at the White House with an AT&T phone. I was like, yep, Patriot Mobile didn't lose coverage. Did they? I got multiple phones. I shouldn't, but I do. Patriot Mobile, man, they got great coverage. They got great customer service. It's 100% U.S. based. And they're just a fantastic company. You can call them on the phone, 972-PATRIOT. But go to patriotmobile.com/Chad. They got a plan that'll fit your budget, and they'll take care of you. Whatever swapping around you need to do. If you need a new phone, need a new number, you need to transfer things, whatever, they'll help you. Call them on the phone. Talk to them. And if you're a first responder or a veteran or active duty military member, use promo code Chad. They're going to give you the free activation. They'll also give you the free month right up front. And they're not going to give a portion of your bill like the big three do to these progressive leftist causes out there like Planned Parenthood and all the nonsense. They're going to support your values, and they love our Constitution. They love our values. They love the foundations of this country, and they love the Bill of Rights, and they fight to defend it. So patriotmobile.com. Use promo code Chad over there. Party Foul Steve, are you in the house, buddy? Are you around? There, look at this guy.
I'm listening in.
And the dogs go crazy at that ding dong.
They do. Let the dogs go crazy.
Ding dong. We got a special guest on here, Steve. First of all, are you healed? Are you well? Are you ready to go on the road this week?
I'm 100%. I'm ready to go on the road. I'm 99.9% because.
Like, what's ailing you, Steve? Tell us what's wrong.
I tweaked my back a little bit trying to get a 100-pound dog off a 50-pound dog, and it's been like,
So you're saying my dog and your dog were fighting? That's what you were saying.
My dog and your dog go at it from time to time, and ain't neither one
of
them.
I need to get my dog back from your house, but I didn't want to come over there. I didn't want to come over to your Wuhan lab of virology while you guys were breathing.
They're both alpha males.
I know.
And one has nuts and the other one doesn't, but they still go at it and it's like they ain't backing down.
Yeah. Well, to be clear, my dog has the nuts. Okay, blow up the
does,
chat. Steve needs a chiropractor. Steve needs a chiropractor. I'll take you over to the Joint, which is like chiropractor in a box over there, and they'll crack on you.
So are we celebrating Pakistani Day or what? I mean,
you can in Texas if you want to. I don't want to.
I don't know what do you do to celebrate Pakistan?
Well, you know what?
It's like I got jokes.
Curry. Not
politically correct jokes. But I used to do business with Pakistanis from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And then I had some gentlemen from the UAE ask me not to do business with the Pakistanis anymore, or they would cut off business with me. And it was most lucrative for me to cut off business with the Pakistanis.
Are you talking about back when you were racing dogs?
Yeah, I sold dogs around the world, and United Arab Emirates and Pakistan were both big.
They love their animals.
They would come to Texas, and they would come on the farm on the dog farm, and they would pick out the dogs they wanted to buy, and we'd take them down to Houston, put on the United Arab Emirates flight.
Yeah, buddy, they spend their money on those animals. I've seen it with the horses. Let me tell you, in India and Pakistan, they got some tension going on right there between them. They're about to get it on. So we might not have to worry about Pakistan at all. But they did that. They passed that. It's a resolution they did here. I mean, Texas is ridiculous right now. I mean, like, we've got a day commemorating Beyonce. Like, we got a Beyonce. Don't forget the fact that we got the 6th highest property taxes in the country. And in our municipal areas like Dallas and San Antonio and Houston, they're number 1 in the country for property taxes. Texas House hasn't done anything about that, but we have a Beyonce Knowles Day here in Texas and a Pakistan Day, and we're going to honor Ramadan and all this other stuff.
Somebody needs to send out something, because I don't know what to do on none of those days. I got Cinco de Mayo figured out, but
you just sit around drinking tequila and making tacos. We know your style.
We know
your style. Well, let me tell you somebody who does know some things. He's our buddy, and he's going to come on the show. I like this guy a lot, and getting to know him better and better. I love his voice. I love what he stands for, and I love his conviction. Welcome to the program, Bryce Eddy. Bryce, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Man, good to see you, man. You know, you got a great podcast. You're bold. I like that. You know,
thank you.
This is one of those days where we got to be bold, right?
Yeah, we do. We're in a fight for our lives, and I don't think everybody gets it. You know, there's such a focus on this topic because there is this focus on the election, right? And I considered that round 1. You know, we were fighting against the communists, right? Yeah. Fighting against these socialists, and really, I would say all the time, it's really the globalists, and they were using communism and socialism as a sales pitch, right? Because you're not going to tell the college kids that they just want us to be slaves. You know, they want a feudalism 2.0, right? So we won temporarily, like we have a respite. But the real battle that's coming, the communists will always be there, all that stuff. But we're coming into a identity battle between 2 dominant religions.
Yeah,
that's what we're looking at, and Texas is like ground zero for it right now.
So I made a post about you coming on the show today, and I put it on a social media story. And I saw, obviously you talk about the invasion of Texas. You start talking about the 1,221 miles of border that we have with Mexico. People think of that in terms of the invasion, and that's certainly been an epidemic issue here in the state. But we're talking about Islam. I mean, we're talking about but as you said, one of the world religions that's coming in here that is diametrically opposed, especially when they embrace Sharia. I mean, true Islam does not fit with the Constitution of the United States. They just don't. And
Correct.
Texas has gotten so watered down in the way that, as I said in the opening monologue, we just bend over backwards to, virtue signal these people. Tell me, what in the world is going on here? Why is this happening?
Yeah, well, I mean,
How did we get to this point?
yeah, if you're a Christian, you believe in the Bible, you understand that this is a battle that is quite bibiblical. So just addressing that there, we're seeing this happen worldwide, and I think that Americans were just completely ignorant to the idea that it could happen here. The number one name of a baby born last year in Ireland was Muhammad.
Yeah.
So the Irish are losing their identities. All of Europe is losing its identity, and it's okay to have national identities and a core of who you are in a nation. America was unique in that we were all here as Americans, and we're throwing in the
Right.
Irish, the Italians, the blacks, everybody could come here, and we had a shared identity, and that was American values. That's what's being lost right now, and I don't think people thought that it could happen here, but it is happening here quicker than anybody understands.
Dude, and it's insane. And I mean, it's happening. Christianity is one thing. Like that's a conversion experience. Islam, you're born into it. I mean, you're born into it. I mean, you're part of it, and they're having babies, man. I mean, Lord knows they are reproducing. And
Yeah.
America, the idea of America as it was founded is diametrically opposed to the values of Islam. And then you think Texas. I mean, everybody, they really are deceived on where Texas is. And the reason I think that this is so relevant, such a topic, because obviously we have people from all over the country that watch and listen to this show, all over the world, really. And if it can happen here, then Lord knows it can happen anywhere, right? You expect to hear this in Washington or Oregon or Illinois or something like this. But this is Texas. I mean, remember the Alamo. I mean, this is Texas. And we have, the Epic City thing that's been a big debate up in Plano. What is that? And what are we looking at with this? I mean, they're buying out shopping centers and mega churches and turning them into mosques.
Yeah, they're creating community, right? And there's power and strength in community. And what they are is a very masculine and aggressive religion, right? And Christianity distinctly left that and distinctly got feminized and got weak. And so now we're seeing this battle looming, and Texas is just their kind of next spot, and they talk about it. I mean, the imams and the people that are behind it in those communities talk about, we are going to march in this direction, and we're going to create our own communities where Sharia law is the default. I mean, and it's happened in other places in this country. You don't think that Texas is vulnerable, but in Michigan. They're performing sex mutilating surgeries on young girls that are a part of the ethos of that religious belief system, and it's being ignored. So, I mean, can you imagine that? That will be happening in Texas as well.
Yeah. Party foul, Steve, you ready to get mutilated, buddy? Are you past that point?
No, I've known about that a long time in other countries, but to know that they're circumcising women essentially.
Yep. It's a
cutting the clitoris completely out.
Yeah, not to be graphic, but it's to mutilate their abilities, and it's disgusting, and it is being ignored by our authorities in communities here in the U.S.
Yeah, and I see people in the chat there, and they're asking questions. Does Trump know about this? Here's the thing: you have to ask yourself. who does know about it? Obviously, I mean, again, I want to remind everybody that in Texas, I mean, we've sold our farmland to China. I mean, we've given away our state. Forget the southern border invasion, where you have 165 different nations represented in border encounters each year. I mean, there's not 165 nations below us, so there's apparently a wormhole from Beijing to Juarez. They're getting here somehow. But this influx, as to your point, Bryce, this influx of Muslims. You say, oh, it's just another peaceful expression of religion, except it's not. It's not. That's not the plan. I mean, go to the UK right now and see what it's all about.
Yeah, Islam, if they are below a certain percentage, and I think it's 1 or 2% of a population, they will communicate themselves as a religion of peace.
Right.
And listen, I have people who are Islamic who I consider friends, and
Sure.
I've had conversations, and I've spent time talking to people, and they'll kind of tell you this, but there's a historical precedent that when it gets to be over 10% of the community, remember, a small but determined force can really dominate a region, especially if it's aggressive and highly masculine, and we are ignoring it. And so they're only a religion of peace until they get to a certain critical mass in a community, and that's what they are announcing they are going to be doing.
They're
Yeah.
getting elected into school boards. They're getting elected into office, and those their values, the things that come with them, that it stays with them.
Yeah, and we stopped saying what is compatible and what our values are, here in this country. And the truth is that Islam, and again, we're talking about their doctrine, their orthodoxy. We're not talking about the random guy in your community that seems like a nice family, nice chap, and okay, cool, right? We're talking about an orthodoxy that says that we are going to dominate, and that is our goal. And we're talking about an orthodoxy that really only has 3 choices. It's not to live peacefully with other religions. It is convert, pay up, or die. We understood that back when Thomas Jefferson was fighting the Barbary pirates. That was their deal. And so, when we lose the standard of our identity and we stop being very clear on what American values are, and again, they are Judeo-Christian values, when we stop being very, very firm on that, then, we can be dominated by an aggressive but small force, and it's happening.
Yeah. We did a little dive on last week's episode talking about immigration and open borders, and where a lot of that stems from was the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, Lyndon Johnson, and some others that were in the Congress and
Kennedy
Senate.
was behind a lot of that stuff in the early
Sure.
days too. They stopped having American identity, be the reason why we would allow people to come in. I want to be an American,
Yeah.
That's what we had as a standard. I mean, people were interviewed. What are you coming here for? Why are you here? What's happening? Immigration was for the nation, not for the immigrant. And it's to, it's like inviting people into, a job offer. You want the best of the best to come to make your company strong. It's the same thing with the country. And again, we rescue people. We have asylum seekers. That is also a thing that a Christian nation should be doing.
Sure.
But you still invite them here and say, here are the demands of our culture. Here's what you are going to do if we let you in here. And here's what you're going to be a part of when we let you in here.
Yeah, because we had an origins-based immigration policy prior to 1965. Prior to 1965, did I say the right date? 1965. Prior to 1965, 85% of the immigrants that came into this country were coming from places that shared, in many ways, American values already. So European. After that, 80% were coming from places like Asia and Africa and other third world areas. because again, it went from an identity-based immigration policy. Well, that's just too racist, or it's not open enough, and it's not welcoming enough. To now, it became a thing of, can you identify somebody that you know or are related to in the country, and do you have a skill? Well, yeah, I mean, we saw that happening. I mean, all you had to do is come to the southern border and say, my uncle lives in Queens, and you got a plane ticket to go up there, and you could go anywhere in the country you wanted to be, and whether you had skills or not. And so we've lost that because we've bought into this idea that assimilation is a bad word, that it is a racist word. We're no longer a melting pot. We're not those things. And you take somebody like Ilhan Omar in Minnesota. Ilhan Omar, her loyalty is 100% to Somalia.
Oh, she says it.
She says it.
Yeah, I mean, we're not guessing. We're not even guessing by her actions or behaviors, although those are consistent with somebody who sure doesn't love the United States. No, she's saying it. She's saying that she, her loyalty is to Somalia.
Yeah. I did a quick little deal while we were talking. I was looking down here because I did a little Chat GPT search on why doesn't Islam fit in American culture. Now, you would have, and again, it gives me the most pro-Islam rhetoric on here about how peaceful they are. They already live, work, vote, and contribute to society across all sectors. It is so vanilla to go across the board of the way they do. Their teachings about charity, justice, family, ethical living, they align with American cultural values. Yeah, do they though? Like, sorry, but they don't. They don't, and that's a dishonest deal. So if you can't even look up information, it's not being taught in school. People are brainwashed. And again, it's not about just villainizing somebody because of the, quote, color of their skin or where they came from. The issue is the values that they hold to. And their issue is not, again, conversion of others. It is you get rid of the infidel. And that's all of us. That's not them. And even the quote, Muslims that don't adhere exactly to certain teachings, they're infidels as well. And they don't do it with a message of peace and good news. It's with the sword. Yeah. I mean, the reason they call the Marines leathernecks is because, as you alluded to earlier, the practice of beheading people in the Barbary Coast.
Yeah, I mean, this is an age-old and epic struggle that predates America too. Sure. I mean, that's the funny thing is all the nations in the Middle East were at one point Christian, and then the Ottoman Empire came in and cleaned that all out because they were aggressive and dominating, and people are forgetting the actual essence and nature because the history is taught poorly of what the Crusades were about. You go to their contemporary writings. I mean, behind me up on the shelf, I've got, The Sword and the Scimitar and a couple of books by Raymond Ibrahim, who you should definitely have on the show. And he is a Coptic Christian and speaks Arabic and reads it fluently and goes to their contemporary sources. Their own sources talk about how they dominated in those days and what they thought of us, and it was their own history of the Crusades. We have been taught a corrupted history because we became in our universities anti-Christian. So it was like, well, what about the Crusades? And I'm not saying bad behavior didn't exist by people then, but the nature of the battle was an epic battle between us and Islam that was seeking to dominate all of Europe and seeking to dominate everyone. It has not changed.
I got a question for you, Bryce. But before we do that, let's pay the bills. Let's talk about let's do a little read here. Let's talk about Birch Gold. Got some interesting information. This July, there's a global summit. That's the BRICS nations getting together, Rio de Janeiro. And you got that block of emerging superpowers. So you got China, Russia, India, and Iran meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as a global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset, okay? As these BRICS nations are pushing forward with their plans, global demand for the U.S. dollar is going to decrease. It's going to bring down the value of the dollars in your savings. And while this transition, it's not going to happen overnight, but the Rio Reset, that marks a pivotal moment when the BRICS objectives move decisively from theoretically possible towards inevitable reality. This is a serious deal, folks. you need to make sure that you are securing your savings, your retirement, all the stuff that's out there before these things go down. Now more than ever, you need to text CHAD, I spell it Chad, to 989898. Let Birch Gold walk you through securing your future with an IRA that is tax sheltered and backed by pure physical gold. We had Philip from Birch on Dear America yesterday, and we were talking about the jobs report. Very encouraging. A lot of good things are happening. But when this BRICS thing happens, man, and they've been pushing this direction for a couple of years now, and I'm telling you, they're trying as best they can to remove themselves from the dollar. It's going to devalue the dollar even more. So get with Birch Gold. Talk to them. They got an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Tens of thousands of satisfied customers. We trust them, and we love them. And text Chad. They'll send you that free, no-obligation information kit. Help you learn how to diversify in gold. Text Chad to 989898. All right, Bryce. It's bleak, dude. I mean, again, we're talking about Texas, right? This isn't California. This isn't, the Pacific Northwest. This is Texas. What do we do? I mean, the Texas House is in shambles. We got a mess. I mean, Dustin Burrows, the Speaker of the House, he's further left than Dade Phelan was, and that's hard to believe. I mean, Democrats are basically running the House down there. It's insane. We talked about the stuff that they're doing, passing these resolutions, whether it's Pakistan Day or, a nod to Ramadan and other holidays. We're doing all these things. We're not taking care of Texas citizens in a big way, and I could get on that soapbox for a long time. Other than being concerned, what do we do?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, generational problems require generational solutions, unfortunately, right? And so, we're in this situation now where, this is an epic battle against us. California is already kind of, taken over by other forces, So what do? I mean, they went to places where they could that were strongholds of our values and started to undermine it. And that's what's happened in Texas. That's that started to happen when Texas was losing its identity and inviting a bunch of people from other places and that the Dems ruined. California being an example. You had a bunch of people go, California's starting to stink now. I'm going to move to Texas, but then they brought their weak values with them. So, for us, I mean, you have to have, strong men rise up and be, warriors for the cause and start to throw these people out of office. But, it's not going to be easy. Now, and that's on a Texas basis, right? On a national basis, I think, again, we got a temporarily respite by getting Donald Trump back in, and hopefully a lot of the nonsense, and he's done a ton of executive orders, kind of erasing some of what the left put in that created and enabled this crisis. We have to return to a strong America based on strong American values, and we have to have those values reflected in our military. We have to have those values everywhere. We have to go and reset and then, make it inhospitable to others who do not share our values. And we cannot be afraid of that, because what Europe did was they just said, oh, come one, come all. Let's put everybody in here without any expectations or standards of behaving according to their identity, and here, of course, according to our identity. But if we don't start doing that and start speaking out and don't be afraid to be canceled, don't be afraid to be called an Islamophobe. I mean, you have to start being bold, or else we're going to lose.
What do you think? I mean, what's the right term I want to use? I guess, because we've alluded to this. You've said a couple of things. I want to make sure that the audience catches this full force. And that is the church, the Christian church in America. The American church has gotten so watered down and so afraid of the fight. And they want to throw the doors open, and they just welcome anything without any sense of conviction or any sense of exclusion. Jesus was quite exclusive. When he says, I am the way, the truth, the life, he wasn't a way among ways. I mean, that's pretty exclusive. When he talks about there's certain people that ain't going to make it on this narrow road or the camel through the eye of the needle, he's being very exclusive. And we've sort of flipped the other way around, and we've just said, oh, let's just love and welcome everybody. And we've kind of lost that fight, right? We've lost that sense of defending the faith. and being boldly alpha masculine, if you will, but onward Christian soldier, right? Marching as to war, as the old hymn says, and there are small pockets of people who are trying to bring that idea back, but Christianity is boldly divisive. I mean, the words of Jesus express that. He says, "I didn't come to bring peace, but to bring division." I mean, he's literally talking about separating families. I mean, it's a very divisive message, albeit a good, victorious message, but it's a declaration. The gospel is a declaration. It's not an invitation as much as it's a declaration that says, "Hey, we won. We won. Now let's go live like it." First century Christians, the ones who walked with Jesus, the disciples of Jesus, they died violent deaths over something they truly believed in. I mean, this was a conviction of theirs, right? And the book of Revelation says that they overcame by the blood of the Lamb, the word of their testimony, and we love that part, but then it says, "And they love not their life even unto death." What do we do about the wussification of the American church at this point? I mean, it just
Hey, Chad, I could tell you right there, we're afraid of being called phobes or racist. But we actually do finally have a president that's not, call me what you want. I'm still going to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah,
We're weak in that regard. Yeah.
exactly right. I mean, you have to leave those churches is what you should be doing, right?
Yeah.
Because there are ones out there, and they're growing. I mean, why do you think a lot of these young men are, starting to go to like Latin masses and things like that? It's because they're recognize that a lot of these evangelical churches are just singing love songs to Jesus and not actually being bold with their faith. I mean, we need to pray for revival for us all. We are under a great spiritual battle. We've got to press in that respect, or we will lose. The truth is that this is, like I said earlier, a generational battle. We need to be, and thankfully we're seeing young men wanting to be strong and bold like never before, which is a good sure sign for us. But this is a big fight. We didn't get ourselves into this mess overnight. We're not going to get out of it overnight.
Yeah, you talking about it being a generational fight, and you're right. I mean, the only way to do it is to understand that we're living. We have to be living for a legacy, right? It's got to be something beyond our years. I'm always reminded. In fact, I've got a picture right here in my Bible that's sitting right here. It's a picture of the Cathedral of Milan. It took 600 years to build that. 600 years. So the people that started that cathedral, they didn't finish it, and the people who were working, on year 300. They didn't get to see the end of it. They were building for a multi-generational thing. They understood that it was going to require the completion of that project was going to take multiple generations. If we think about, the kingdom of God or even American values or the foundations of faith here in this country or our Bill of Rights or our Constitution, we got to build generationally. And we don't think about the future. We don't think about the generations to come. And to me, a lot of things that I think that Christians, if you will, they've hung out that going out of business shingle and said, you can't do business when you keep telling the world you're going out of business. And like, well, Jesus is going to get us out. Jesus is going to come back and get us out of all of this, right?
Right.
You can't keep hanging that shingle out there and then claim to be victorious and just say, well, Jesus is going to take me to glory. You got to plan for generations. I mean, it's nobody does business that way.
Yeah, no, it's true. At the same time, there's this, movement towards like a, Christian nationalism, and and obviously, we are a Christian nation, and we should be, nationalists versus globalists. But there is an opposite movement that is also, dangerous to where, I don't want to be, under the authority of the left, nor do I want to be under the authority of an oppressive right. What I want to do is decentralize power and give strength to, the small businesses and families and, all the things that do make us great, which, I think that's why the, downsizing of government, why it's happening in Texas is you have all these weak politicians who have all of this authority over these communities to where they can declare a Pakistani day. And, all of that stuff is is what's absurd. Our government is what's been exasperating these conditions and, essentially, enabling what they're doing in those communities.
Yeah. David, our producer, David, if you can hear me, play that clip that you've got. This is what happened, what was it, last week, where the lady comes up and this is Texas Muslim Capital Day. That was 3 years ago. But then there was the lady who came up and took the microphone. Play that clip. That was a couple of years ago.
I proclaim the name of the Lord Jesus Christ over the capital of Texas. I stand against Islam and the false prophet Muhammad. Islam will never dominate the United States, and by the grace of God, it will not dominate Texas.
I like that.
Wow.
Amen.
And the problem is, it should be a bunch of men doing that.
Yeah. No,
But
that's true.
I mean, where are the men? It's always the women that are exposing this stuff and speaking boldly. But then there was the woman who came up, I think it was last week, and she had her, burqa or whatever, hijab on, and she pulled it off, and it was a white woman, and she was taking the microphone. It's a crazy thing, man. Crazy world we're living in.
Yeah, you guys are, Texas, is fighting for its life and identity right now, and
really
in
is.
more ways than just one. But I think this is going to be the critical battle, and I've been saying this. This is round 2, and this is what we're cruising into. And I've been saying it, even during the election when everybody was really focused on winning, which I think we needed to.
Yeah.
But this was the battle coming, and I said it over and over again.
Here's that little clip right there. Play real quick, David.
Islam is the religion of rape, incest, and pedophilia, where they bow down to a stupid rock and a false prophet. I will never let Sharia law protect
I mean, that's bold.
Yeah.
That's for sure. That's bold. But we're gonna have to make a stand. Bryce, what else is on your mind, buddy? What's on your heart, dude? We've been trying to get you on this show for a month now, and we had to keep rescheduling for one reason or another. I'm glad we finally were able to connect. What else going on in your world, man?
Yeah, me too. Well, listen, I think that we have a unique time and we have a short time. And, I am so concerned that we forget that, and that we forget that, we've got 2 years to do hard things, or else we lose this battle. And the folks that are, frustrated with Donald Trump, because there are some on our side, that he's not moving fast enough, or he's not doing all the things that need to be done quickly. Need to, support what's happening and understand what's happening, and understand that we are, in a, hopefully, not the great reset that the World Economic Forum wanted, but the great reset that we needed to get America back on track and, here for Americans.
Yeah. It is a battle, that is for sure. And I think the biggest thing that I like to continue to expose is the fact that there is a misconception across the country of what's going on in Texas. Everybody thinks everything is just great and hunky-dory. It's really not. We're in a devastatingly dangerous place right now for a lot of reasons, as you said. So, yeah. And let that be a lesson. We do need more men to speak up. I mean, God bless these women for doing what they're doing.
Yeah, the man was waiting in the truck.
With it in
Gotta get
gear.
a quick drive away there.
With it in gear. But Bryce Eddy, you guys need to follow him and get over there on his website, bryceeddy.com, right? EDDY?
That's right. Yep.
bryceeddy.com. Get involved with his podcast. Check him out. Go to that little podcast right there. I like what you do on your menu there, where you've got, masculinity, culture, war, and politics. You got pro-life. You got border security, sovereignty, and you've got the categories broken down. So if you guys click on that, it'll take you to to the different podcast episodes that deal with that. I need to do that on my website. I like that.
Okay, we got good people. We got good people.
I know. I need people. I got Party Foul Steve.
Hey, take what you can get, Chad.
I do. I
Yeah,
do.
I know. Exactly.
Bryce, where else can people find you, man? What else you got going on?
Yeah, if you want to see me, get a little bit of brain damage and follow me on X at BryceEddie1. You can follow me on Instagram at Super Bryce Eddy.
Nice.
And love to have you sign up for our newsletter so you know what's happening.
Yeah, and I encourage everyone to do exactly that and stay in touch with Bryce. So, buddy, thank you for coming on the show, man. And we'll get you back real soon.
I appreciate you guys.
You bet. Take care,
All
bro.
right, take care.
You bet. Well, folks, we're in a battle for the soul of this country. And I've said it over and over again. Many others have as well. So goes Texas. So goes the United States. And that is true. And we are close. We don't have a red city, not a major city. I mean, Fort Worth sits on the fence a little bit between being red and blue. But in 2018, they voted blue for the first time ever in its history. They voted blue in that Senate race with Ted Cruz. Bryce is a good dude, man. He's a smart guy. I encourage you guys to follow him, check it out, follow him. And we are in a fight. We're in a fight. Steve, it's your fault.
Yep, it's all my fault.
That's what happens when you get sick.
Yeah.
Texas gets invaded.
I know I missed a week of work. I mean, I call this work.
We're going to make up for it this week.
When I leave the living room and walk in here into the studio, I say I'm going to work. So.
Are you in trouble for traveling back on Sunday with it being Mother's Day?
No, my mother passed away.
No, I'm talking about with your wife.
No, I'm not in trouble. She understands. I mean, living with me and with what we do, she understands.
Yeah,
she gets it.
So we're going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina Thursday night. We're going to be in Marion, Virginia. You ever been to Marion, Virginia?
Yeah, sure have.
I don't think I have.
I've been through there. So
maybe I've been through there. We're going to be there Friday night, and then we're going to be in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, Saturday night. So if you folks want to do something this weekend and you're in those areas, go to watchchad.com and look at my...
We're going to get some beautiful windshield time. That's only a couple of hours between each of those drives, but those are some pretty drives.
Beautiful drives. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a very good time. And, it's great. I look at this Chat GPT thing and the way they're just basically stroking Islam in this whole deal.
Look up the least Muslim state in the United States.
The least?
Yeah, which state has the least? And let's figure out what they're doing that Texas is not. And because I mean we're importing into these communities.
Is it Montana?
Is considered the state with the smallest percentage. Yeah, maybe is it the cold weather? I don't know. No, I guess not because the Northeast has Muslims, but
yeah,
Montana. I lived in Billings for a hot minute.
I like asking Chat GPT questions that it don't want to answer. So let's see, smallest, typically Vermont. Let's see, state with the smallest Muslim population, typically Vermont, but I think that's talking about the size. It's not per capita.
Yeah.
Let's say other states with similarly small Muslim populations: Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So what we've learned is they don't do cold.
Yeah, maybe that's it. They don't do cold mountains.
Yeah. But again, all of those states are pretty sparsely populated anyway.
Well, when people are immigrating. In the immigration office, the United States, are they like saying, no, we need people to immigrate to this area?
No.
Into this city?
No. And again, I encourage everybody to go back and watch the Saturday episode that I did about the immigration in 1965. And go back and watch that. Because again, we changed the criteria under the idea that we're being racist. I'm telling you, you know what's going to destroy society?
Not being racist?
No, it's not. Oh. Close. It's not racism. It's going to be the accusations of racism.
Yeah.
Because you hit the nail on the head. People don't want to be accused of being something.
So they're going to do the extreme opposite of that, and it's going to cause, it's the lack of common sense.
You drop all criteria. You drop any regulation, you drop any rules, you drop any exclusions. I mean, look at the thing being called a phobe with the transphobe thing. We don't want to be.
I'm transphobe. I'm scared of all of them. They shouldn't be around. That's not real. That's fake. I'm scared of trans.
I don't
okay?
like mental illness.
It's like,
Scared of trans. Oh, it's funny.
I mean,
You
what
are
if one
so
of them beats
funny,
me
dude.
up or something?
But that's your issue there, is it's going to be people's fear of being called something. I get called something every day of my life.
My fear of being called something it daily kind of keeps going down because
Brother, they can kiss my white ass. I mean, they just can. I don't care. You can call me, I mean, just a little while ago, I got called, a snake oil salesman because I like to talk about my peptides.
Yeah.
Kiss
Me
my
too.
fat white ass.
Speaking of that, somebody wanted to see my glue sticks and
Yeah, look at that thing. Put it back up there. You're full screen now, Stevie Pooh.
oh, there we go. Look at that. Look, one-handed.
Look at that. No, I don't like unstable people. Period. I don't like being around anybody that's unstable. I don't like being around drunk people.
Hey, you're not the only one. Why do you think there was a time in my life that you stayed away from me? Because I was probably drunk.
I don't like being around people that are unstable. And so you're like, oh, you're afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them. You don't make me comfortable. I don't want to be around you. You know what I'm saying? Breaking.
The make-believe stuff was stupid, though.
So here you go. The Supreme Court has upheld Trump and Pete Hegseth's policy banning transgender individuals from military service.
Thank you. That's a no-brainer. There's no place in the military for us to have to worry about our military men and women transitioning to another sex.
And people signing up to be in the military so the government will pay for their transitions.
If you want to go get transitioned, you're over 18, go pay for it yourself.
You know, I had someone that I know who is a lesbian. And
I know lots of lesbians. I mean, like 5.
Well,
I mean, that's a lot.
I mean, what was I?
I ain't mad at none of them.
Bro, you tripped me out. But I'll never forget back when Trump was in office the first term, and I made the video about him pushing transgenders out of, and I made a very persuasive video with detailed facts, stats, and numbers. And I made the video about it. It went viral, of course. And I had a person that I know who is a lesbian, and she said, you know, you saying all this kind of stuff. And I said, why are you taking issue with this? She goes, well, as a lesbian, I sort of represent the community. I said, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah,
I said, you just quit being an alphabet person and doing all this stuff. I need to go find that video.
The alphabet is in the middle of a divide and a split themselves.
Yeah.
It's like, why do you even got to have alphabets?
I wonder if I can pull that video up right there. I need to find that thing. But yeah, that again, you're defending something that's ridiculous. Golly, man, if you ever Google yourself, dude, people
I Google
really
myself
hate me.
every now and then.
People really do hate me, huh?
Yeah, they do.
Okay, there's that video. I found it right there. I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna put a thing in the deal. See if I can copy the link right here. I know this is good television. You guys are loving this
they'll
right
do
here.
it. As long as they don't leave and go watch that while we're still on.
Yeah, I just put the Facebook link in there.
Okay, just copy.
Here, I'm gonna send. No. I'm gonna
link.
send it. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna watch it. Let's just watch it together.
Okay.
I'm gonna send it to David. David on Telegram. There it is. There's the link, my brother.
Look how fast you are, and watch how fast Dave.
Let's see if you have trouble logging in, David. Let me know, buddy. Hopefully it'll do it. No, there I am. All right, start it over and let's
Skinny
look
Chad.
Look at that skinny young face right there. Play the clip.
You ask my opinion, so I'll give it to you. Look, Donald Trump's decision to not allow transgender people into the military may not have been the nice, kind, acceptable, or even PC thing to do, but contrary to popular belief, I believe it was, in my opinion, a compassionate decision. First of all, the American military is not a social experiment. It is a well-trained fighting force, the likes of which the world has never seen or known. They are at times asked to insert their lives into the savage depths of human horror and hell from which many emerge mentally depressed, damaged, or even destroyed. Now, mind you, these men and women have some of the toughest cerebral fortitude there is available to humanity, and they're laser-focused in their mission and their purpose. Their training demands trust at all costs in both their leadership and their team. Now, at what point do you think it is fitting or compassionate to thrust a person that has struggled with their gender identity and its subsequent disillusionment, depression, denial, and feelings of defeat, and trust me, every transgender soul on the planet has wrestled with them all, to thrust them into an environment that demands singular focus and the potential further fragmentation of their minds? It's not compassionate. Do you really want to put them into a situation where the life and death of their team members depend on undistracted attention to their task? Now look, there are those of you that want to fight back and say that you or someone you love is transgender and fully in control of your self-esteem and your identity, and I will lovingly tell you that you know that you are wrong. Now, if flat-footedness and deviated eardrums can disqualify you from service in the American military, then how much more having your genitalia reassigned? There's a little bit of an emotional construct to that. Now, we aren't asking for the high school football team to allow female kickers on the team and then split their time with the cheerleading squad here. Those of you who are blind with rage because of my opinion, if you can't handle dissenting opinions from a stranger online, what in the world makes you think you could actually step into a real battle, with actual bullets and stuff? Now, the bottom line is this. If you or someone you love has made the decision to live their lives outwardly because of transgender confusion in their minds, then my heart and my compassion goes out to you with zero sense of condemnation, condescension, or even judgment. However, any attempt to justify your mental state as battle ready is statistically not feasible. And hey, I'll readily admit, mine isn't either. So there. And to say that the president's decision is bigoted is your right, but I will remind you that your hero, Hillary Clinton, your champion, received millions of dollars in support from a nation that would gladly cut the head off of every transgendered person alive. And yeah. I know the Pentagon spends $80 million a year on Viagra. That's your argument? You know what? It's well-deserved. I pray every veteran that served, fought for, and saved this country gets every last blue pill so they can deservedly get what's coming to them. Hoorah. Love y'all. Seriously. God bless.
There it is.
You ask my opinion.
There it is.
What do we got?
David, you got to hit pause on that one, buddy. You got to hit pause.
I was like, are we watching a
It's all
soccer
good.
game now or what?
We were scoring. All right, folks. WatchChad.com is where all the fun stuff is. Good for the Supreme Court in doing that. And Party Foul Steve.
Yeah,
Party
Party
Foul
Foul
Steve.
Steve on the Instagrams, the Facebook, and all the places, the Venmos,
Man, I got more handsome as I got older. Look at me now.
Look at that. You need a little puffiness in your face there.
I'm very puffy, dude. I
You
don't
were
know what's
puffy
going
yesterday. I don't
Very
know what
puffy.
happened to you over the weekend.
I don't know what happened to me, man. I think it was just all the travel and the going and doing and all that stuff. So anyway, I am puffy. I got a deep puff. I got a deep puff.
I don't know what you do.
I don't know. Thanks for pointing it out, man.
I just, we gotta make fun of each other.
I know.
Somebody else online is.
I know.
You gotta get tough skin.
Well, if you want some of my snake oil,
Dude, I'm drinking the snake oil every single day.
I'm telling you, bro, this is good stuff right here. I love these peptides.
So
Go to watchchad.com, the link right up there at the top, and come on. We had a great Zoom call today with the team. All right, I got to go because I got to jump on somebody else's show, and I got to do Carl Higby's show this evening for Newsmax. So
yeah,
anyway,
me too. I think somebody's inviting me on their show.
look at
You
you,
never
big
know.
dog. Every day, the good Trent said everything the left does weakens the U.S. and its purposes. Are they just stupid? Yep. It has to be on purpose. It is. And they're stupid. You can't introduce mass amounts of Muslims into a Christian nation unless you want turmoil. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Any others? Is that it? Is that it? Participation? All right. I like how he claps for anyway, all right. Party Foul Steve, we'll get on the road this weekend. I will be back tomorrow. Don't forget Hot Seat Todd. He'll be up here at 3. Hopefully he survived the doctor's appointment earlier. And the rest of the Dear America family will be on this afternoon and evening. All right, for Party Foul Steve, for Bryce Eddy, go follow him, bryceeddy.com. That's EDDY, bryceeddy.com. And head over to watchchad.com. Click a like before you get out of here. Share this episode if it was meaningful to you in any way. And follow us. Follow us on all the socials and just stay involved. I love you so much, guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning on Dear America at 9/8 Central. Be there, and we will talk to you then. I love you. God bless you. Oh, and don't forget, follow at David Medina PDX on Instagram. Great content over there for producer David. I appreciate you. Talk to you in the morning. Bye.